Good afternoon, traders. This update is for April the 15th, 2011. Hope everyone had a fantastic week. There were certainly a lot of opportunities on the swing and day trading side. We had a couple big companies report earnings, and thus far it's been a little disappointing. But right now we're going to talk about the E-minis. Alright, this 1300 level always plays a significant role. All these hold numbers, it's what the investors watch. They really like to play them and use them as a gauge of where the market will go next. But dating back before this little bounce we just had off 1300 yesterday, the last time we approached it was a consolidation above it before a move higher that essentially brought us to a lower high. Now I know a lot of people were watching that, I certainly was, and still a lot of people believe that there is going to be another down move. Right now we have to take it for what it is, and we are back above the 50 with a 5 and 10 ascending. If the 5-day moving average crosses above the 10, there's a good chance that we will retest this 1333. Now going a little bit into the world markets, I must mention China and Europe. China consumer prices increased 5.4% year over year in March. That's the biggest jump since July of 2008. So there's a lot of talk saying that they're going to raise interest rates once again. Also Europe, talking about the same thing. Europe's in a little different predicament than we are. Europe is trying to not spend as much money, and they're not really concerned about job growth as much as curbing the inflation. In our country, it's kind of the complete opposite. We'd rather inflate our way into creating more jobs and growth in the economy rather than stop spending and actually own up to our debt. And there's a real problem in Washington right now with these politicians. All they're worried about is getting reelected. So the lobbyists are really getting their ways when it comes to that. And I like to discuss a little bit in politics with my videos since they play a huge role in this business. With that aside, the next thing I'm going to look at is crude oil. And basically the trade on crude oil has been above 100, we're going to 105. Above 105, we're going to 110, etc. The last trade was below 110. We're heading back to 105. That occurred. You scooped up some here, and then you traded it. We hit 110 again today. So that's pretty much how we're going to be trading this. They did not let it get below the 20-day moving average. That shows us that I don't think crude oil is done going up. And I'm starting to learn a lot more about this business than I ever really wanted to. I always knew the basics, but now I'm really getting in depth because you really need to understand commodities, even if you're an equities trader. And T. Boone Pickens, which is a brilliant man, if you ever listen to him talk, he really knows the business, and he's putting a lot of his money into natural gas. They've already created school buses, large automobiles, truckers, and everything using natural gas, but the president will not enforce it. Our country is spending $600 billion a year just on crude oil. Over the last 3 years, we have printed $1 trillion every single year, and that's just piling up more on our debt. Next, I guess I have to go into the dollar, which we were shorting during this down move. We pulled up. This was just another bearish flag. I pointed it out 2 weeks ago in my video. You guys could review that, and we just continued down. Now we covered our position. They could get a little move up on the 75, but we are going to continue going down, and it's just a never-ending thing. The Fed really like to not acknowledge the fact that our currency is being devalued. They say that inflation isn't really bad, but I beg to differ. They go by CPI, which differentiates from the actual price of inflation, and it doesn't include food or commodity prices rising, which, on another topic, I really believe that commodities will continue going higher for at least another year or two. So for that matter, with the dollar going down and commodities rising, gold and silver are just an investment tool being used as a second currency right now. And another thing that I believe, as the currencies are devalued and they switch to a new one world currency, which is just in the making as we speak. They're already saying it's called an SDR. You guys can research that. But really, the only thing that will withhold its value is precious metals. That's why a lot of the speculators are coming into the gold and silver markets and running it up. I wouldn't be surprised if gold hit 1,500 per bullion ounce, maybe Sunday evening. We're out here fighting wars that we shouldn't be in, that Congress doesn't even vote on, and us American taxpayers are dealt with an even more increasing deficit, and it's just going to be passed down and passed down before you're paying $30 for a loaf of bread at the grocery store, and then that's when the riots are going to come. I believe it's really just a matter of time, and it's sad. I don't like to see commodities rising every day, but we have to look into the best interest of our portfolios and our families even going into these difficult times. It's the last thing I'm going to point out index-wise before I go into the individual stocks, because there's a lot of key information with the earnings that we had this week. The steel index, and not every software enables you to view this, but it's pretty much just the price of steel comprised in an index. If you want to get the actual price, you have to go to the London Metal Exchange, and you could just view that, do a Google search. But right now, we finished up 5 points, and we had been a steady decline. You guys know that I'm currently long US steel, and we're flirting with the 200. It really did nothing today, which I don't like, but like I said, 49.5 is my stop, and I will continue holding on to this, and hopefully we'll get a bounce on Monday. Next, we're looking at Google, and you guys know Google has gone through an officer exchange over the past month, and they're actually looking to create more growth, and they're spending a lot more money on that, and therefore you saw this down move. Also, they've acquired a few new companies, and now there's more federal regulation coming in, so I'm sure that's playing a part in this down move. But we closed yesterday at 578, hit a low today at 530, huge 47 point move. Wow, almost 9%. I definitely thought that the tech stocks would be down today, and I thought the market would be down. But I was watching this ACAM very closely. When we pulled down to the 37 and started consolidating, we moved back up. I got long at 37.05. I'm long about 15 contracts, and it's looking good here. I pointed this out, I believe it was 2 nights ago in the video, and I got a question. I believe it's a new subscriber, because everyone that's been following my videos pretty much knows what I look for. I look for companies with strong fundamentals that have been beaten down too much, and I think that this strategy will make you a lot of money. I use a lot of different instruments when looking at positions, and I don't really want to get too much into it. Just keep watching my videos and you'll realize what stocks that I pick and why I pick them. My target right here, I really want to see us get past this 39.35, which was the prior high back here on the 25th of March, and I'll probably sell 3/4 of my position there, maybe hold the extra 25%, put a trailing stop on it. PBR, I am long PBR. I got long this morning. Nice oil play right here. I put that in last night's video. I got long right off the open at 37.30 when we pulled back here. I sat through a little bit of pain, only about 20 cents before it rocketed higher and actually hit a high of 38.07 today. So I'm going to remain long this stock. I'd probably sell it if it got back up to 38.16. Next, looking at Nike. And I traded Nike today as a day trade on the short side. Now I wanted to show you something. A buddy of mine actually pointed this one out. So you guys know my strategy. If you ever see stocks that are gapping down largely, I want to know. And usually what I will do is I will trade a bearish gap down to the short side, and then I will set my alert at the original high from the gap. Once we approach that and hold over it, that's where I'll look to take a long short term. In this case, however, we are right below the 200-day moving average at 80.37. So we're in a slight range here between the 78.65, the high from the gap down, and the 200-day moving average. So you could continue playing this, whether they decide to bring it back down or blast it through 80.37, head up to the 50. Time will tell. But even though we gap down huge, Nike is a strong stock and they do generate a lot of capital. Another stock I'm watching would be Intap. This is another gap play. It wasn't a big gap, but 48.75 is the alert. We got hit a few times the last few days. What I want to see is us blast through today's high and then get going here. Maybe get a move back up to 51. I'm going to day trade this, and it depends on the momentum whether I take a swing trade or not. And of course, this is a no-brainer. If it holds below it, all bets are off. Next one is Bed Bath & Beyond, and retailers really have been on fire lately. They reported earnings. They gapped up to a high of 55.17. The low from the gap day was 53.21. Consolidated above it, moved higher. This was all bullish here, and then we broke above the 55.17 today. It enabled you to catch a beautiful move up, and now we have a new support, which is 55.17. This thing could continue higher. Maybe it will put in a flag pattern right here before it makes another move up. Probably will get up to the $58 level. Alright, so here we have a speculation play. The symbol is TRGL. I shorted this today. I made 30 cents off it, and that's good off an $8 stock. We've been declining since January at 18.97, that high, all the way down now 10 points to $8 a share. Yesterday we had an up move, and then today it shows the bears still have control. We have a descending 5-day moving average, so that's not convincing me to take a long here. What it could end up happening is a bearish flag and move lower, but I'm kinda speculating that this thing is going to have a move back up to 950. So this is on my radar for next week. Maybe we get a short-term covering and get a bounce up to that level, so keep this on your radar. Now going back a little bit, Baidu was down earlier, and it's probably because Google moved down so much. But that being said, these Chinese internet stocks have been on fire nonetheless. They just have had massive runs. Look at this. From gapping up to this earnings play back in February 1st at 115.04, we've rallied all the way up to a high of 148.92 before consolidating. Now we put in a doji today, but we still have an ascending 5-day moving average. We're going to watch this closely. I agree that we've ran up way too fast, and this could be a short-term top that could maybe lead us back down to the 140 to 130 level. I'm not going to jump in front of a train here, but I will watch this going into next week for a potential short. Cena is another name. Put this on your radar. And this one has gone up, and it actually put in a new high today at 124.56. Again, if Baidu starts showing some weakness, maybe you could get involved with this. Apple has been underperforming, another large cap. Then we have Google. Now I'm looking at Sohu.com, symbol SOHU. This could be either a flag pattern, or we could slip below the 10-day moving average tomorrow and head back down to 90.48, which could essentially cause a lower move for Baidu and Sina to follow. And then the last stock that I'm going to leave you with is Mosaic, and I really like this stock. It's having a bit of a downfall ever since Monsanto reported earnings, but going into next week around this 73 to 72 level, I think there's going to be some demand come through. Ideally, I would like it to move back down around the 200-day moving average, around the $68 level. If it does that, I'll buy it short aggressively on the way down. So we'll just keep watching this. Tomorrow, hopefully, I'll get you guys out a commodity video, but it is my birthday, so I'm not sure. But you know how it is. I work whether it's my birthday or not. So you guys enjoy your weekend, and most likely I'll talk to you tomorrow.